This. This is what I've been waiting for. Daredevil episode 4. I had to think about that because they dropped 2 episodes last week. Oh, this is so good. Like right from the open, this is so good. Oh, I've got one note because I'm me, but I'll get there. Let me just bask in the fact that nearly every scene was just like that is either exactly what I would want, and I don't mean like plot turns. I don't need it to have a certain plot, but in terms of its overall goals and what it's doing and the performances and the tone and the mood, like it either gave me exactly what I wanted or something that I didn't expect it, and it gave me something even better than what I thought I was going to get right from the start. Okay, that opening in the diner, Bullseye purposefully calling in a tactical SWAT team so that he can kill them with whatever random items are around the diner. That is the most Bullseye nonsense that I have seen ever put to screen, and I love it. They have finally figured this guy out. I did not like him before. I thought he was a very boring representation of Bullseye, and I think that probably initially came from the fact that he started in season 3 when it was still on Netflix and was trying to be a lot more grounded. They are embracing the fact that this guy is ridiculous but deadly in his absurdity, and and he's also being that wild card villain that I mentioned because we have this wonderful trifecta going on because you have both Daredevil and Bullseye want Fist taken down, but Bullseye wants to kill him and Daredevil won't let that happen. But also at the same time, you put the 3 in the room. If Kingpin tries to kill Bullseye, Daredevil doesn't want that to happen either. He wants them both taken down, but also won't let them kill each other. It's that is beautiful tension. That is such a messy just mix of motivations and intents and ways that they are or aren't willing to deal with their problems. That is yes. That is fantastic. We get a little bit more stuff with BB, and I'm loving her scenes with the deputy mayor. Quick note, I mistakenly misidentified the Kingpin under the mask thing in my last video because I said it was the new White Tiger. Names, like so many of these names I am losing. But I made that mistake, and from the comments, I was not the only person who made that mistake, but I acknowledged my mistake. I made that mistake, I think, because the lighting was so stark when they took that mask off, and I had seen the White Tiger character more recently than I'd seen BB, and like my brain slotted something in the wrong place. But anyways, that does actually mean that I was correct in my episode 1 guess that it was going to be her. So I was just right about that. And I'm not bragging. That was pretty predictable and it makes sense for her. But I like the way that they are using these characters. We got Matthew Lillard back in this. And another fantastic scene because like he's so casual and he's so just relaxed, even as the 2 guys with the machine guns he brought in get killed. But it's not until Fisk and Buck leave that he's just like, like you can see his frustration that he does not have as much control over the situation as he wants or needs to, but he won't let Fisk see that. It's so good. Putting Matt in the church and talking to a priest. Like, anytime you get Matt Murdock talking to a priest, it's probably going to be a great scene. That was a great scene. This is balancing its elements, and it has found its groove in the tone, and it understands what it's doing with its plot and its characters' core values and how they do or don't mesh or how they clash. And like this thing is on such sure footing, whereas the previous season seems so uncertain of itself in terms of like whether it was trying to just be the old Netflix thing or trying to be something different. It kind of tried to be both. It didn't really work. It didn't know what it was doing with a lot of the elements. Now I know part of that was the production and it had massive reshoots and all that, but like this, you can tell this was something built from the ground up. Here's our plan. Here's the whole thing. And they were allowed to just execute it as opposed to having to try and fix it or correct it partway through. The difference is immeasurable how much better this is than the previous season. The fight, the boxing match, brutal. And again, in the best way. And it's really interesting seeing, what does or doesn't rile up Fisk, and also seeing, the response from the people around him, those who obviously have an interest in supporting him, like Danny does, or, just what appear to be, average citizens who are, a lot of them still prepared to cheer the guy on. Vanessa? Vanessa going to sweet talk the governor. It just draws a line under how much I love the dynamic of these two when it is working. And it is here in this season. This is my one note, though, and it regards her. I really, really hope that the injury that she sustained is not going to end up being fatal. Because this is my one kind of recurrent issue, honestly, with most seasons of Daredevil, but previous season of Daredevil Born Again in specific especially. But just let these two be an amazing villain power couple. Please stop disrupting them, at least for a while. I really just wanted a full season of these two being the best kind of worst for each other. They get each other so well, and they can help each other so much to be horrible people, that I really just wanted to dwell with that a little bit longer. There was so much of that evident when Vanessa went to talk to the governor. It's she is not better than him, but she can appear softer than him and can be taken as the mitigating influence by people who either can't or are unwilling to fully stand against him. They look at someone like her and go, okay, well, because you're there, it'll be a little bit better. No, it won't. No, it won't. But you buy that her presence would cause people to think that. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And I don't love the idea of that getting disrupted yet again. Now, it's getting disrupted regardless of whether she ends up in the hospital in a coma or is actually dead. But I'll be actually ticked off if this is her being dead. I'll be a little annoyed, if they're just sidelining her in the hospital. And I get why they're probably going to use this to motivate Fisk to be even more reckless, because while she's not a mitigating force in terms of what his goals are, she can be a mitigating force in terms of his methods. I think that this, if they're going to do that, which I suspect they are, that would have been something to do either closer to the end of this season or next season. I think we needed more time of them being functional together and more of her actually mitigating him so we could appreciate that difference. And I don't think... It's not that I'm 100% against this as a plot turn. I think doing it at this point is a mistake, because if they're doing what I think they're doing in terms of how this is going to impact Fisk, I think that would have hit harder doing it later. And also, if you just wanted him to get reckless in his irritation, in his war against Daredevil and now Bullseye, you had enough motivators to do that. His personal anger, his impatience, the fact that he has Mr. Charles breathing down his neck. There are enough things in play that you could push him to be slightly more reckless without having to sideline Vanessa. So I wouldn't be so annoyed if the show didn't have such a history of kneecapping their dynamic. But it does. It's done it a lot. And because I love this dynamic so much, I just get annoyed every time. But that is only at the very end. Pretty much everything else up to that point, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I love Matt, sneaking around in this ATVF, outfit, acting like them, get out of here, we're in charge, and using that as a way to get into the crime scene. And he's still wearing it when he goes to the church. So you have this priest who thinks that he's turning somebody over to, a very dangerous task force. But at the same time, I really like the reassurances that Matt gives him. Matt could have been, more flatly intimidating, and no doubt the guy is intimidated just naturally by who he thinks Matt is. But, telling him, okay, you don't know for certain who it was. Who do you think it was? and I'm not going to kill him. And, being able to sell that in a way that if the priest not 100% believes, at least is willing to take as enough reason to be honest. And again, the balance in a scene like that in a lot of these scenes is really, really good. And even little stuff like having the people, give their, I was going to say confessionals, I guess more testimony, like to the camera, and those deliveries were really good. You have the young white tiger really starting to get her hands into the mix on all this, and that's I'm really excited for them to really let her cut loose, because they're building her up well. And overall, this is just what I've wanted from Daredevil for a while. This feels very in line and very of a kind with the first season, which has always been, and when I say first season, I mean over on Netflix, which has always been the best Daredevil thing. And since that first season, I have at best gotten tiny glimpses of stuff like that ever since. There were a couple of tiny glimpses in like the very beginning of season 2, but as soon as Frank was arrested and was on trial, that whole season goes downhill, especially in the back half when they try and do Elektra. Because I'm sorry, that show handled Elektra so horribly, which actually makes me really scared, because there's word that they are going to like fully reassemble the Defenders. Whether or not that means a new Defenders TV show, I don't know. We'll see. We still haven't gotten Jessica Jones in on this, and we know she's coming, and I am looking forward to that. But like season 3 was closer to season 1, but also still not quite as tight, not as assured of itself. And then Born Again was, it had moments, but it was honestly kind of a mess. This season had a solid start, but I'm a little bit worried this might be the peak. I'm a little worried it might be downhill from here, but it has been getting better with every episode, which that's a good trajectory. Can they keep it? I mean, almost nothing can. Usually there's going to be a waiver in there somewhere, but like if they can even keep in the ballpark of how good this was, please, I'll be so happy. Daredevil Born Again, episode 4. What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are. Oh, you know what? Complete sidebar. Complete total does not matter sidebar. I love that they had New York State of Mind playing for the opening diner scene. I do like that song, but like this has nothing to do with anything. It just ticks me off that my favorite version of that song is not streaming anywhere. It's not on YouTube. It's not on Spotify. It's not anything. Like, I do have it on CD, but like my favorite version of that song was done by Adam Pascal for the Broadway Cares album Home for Christmas from like 2001, 2, 3, somewhere in there. That's my favorite version of that song, and I can't find it. Not like conveniently. Again, I have it on CD, but I don't have a CD player in my car anymore. Anyways, sorry. Tangent, had to get that off my chest. Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, subscribe. Those all help. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can come on back next time you need a break. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Jared Boyce, Zubin Lafula, Auntie Kate 808, Mira G, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, Oliver B, Mystic Shadow, Sean Miller, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Melissa Pedersen, Becky Sparks, Twilord, Tracy Scrabbit, Pal Barabajoggle, Magdalena, Sir Didymus is my favorite. And to thank some supporters from the lower tiers, thank you to Wordmaker, Lucy Llewellyn, and Beginner's Mind Podcast. And if you want to hear me say your name as well, you can check out the rewards on the Patreon, and there's other stuff besides, and it'll help keep these absurd creatures fed.